Hey guys, welcome back. Today I just not sure I was gonna do a video on this, but that's my diesel truck. It's a 97 F350 7.3. It's got some bigger injectors, tuner, runs pretty strong. Anyways, fuel pump was leaking last fall, but I try not to drive this in the winter anyways, because it's got a southern body on it. There's a whole build series on this truck from last year. If you guys want to go back and watch it. I ended up swapping the frame out and doing a bunch of work. So yeah, but last fall, fuel pump started leaking, which are kind of common on these. Now these style has mechanical fuel pump runs off cam down the valley. Super Duties has electric one down the frame. So this would be like 94 through 97 style fuel pump, mechanical. I got the intake off already. Always make sure to plug your holes so I don't get no garbage down in there. This time, this is about the fourth fuel pump on this truck. I don't know why they keep leaking. So went to Ford and got one. Well, double the price, but if it would last longer, this is it. That button rides off the cam. What there is, I don't know if you can see down here, this right here is your fuel pump. A fuel line here, one here, another one down there. Then there's a banjo bolt down in there underneath the turbo base. What happens, there's a weep hole down below that you can't see, and it will leak fuel down in the valley and then drip out the bell housing because there's a hole back there. So if you're having this problem, check them fuel lines, which I know these are all new, and I checked them and it's coming out the weep hole. So the book will actually tell you to pull the turbo to get to this banjo bolt. I shouldn't have to do that. I've done it other times. You can barely get on it. But once you get it broke free, you can use your spin out with your fingers. When you go to put it back in, make sure you get the washers on both sides and correctly in there. Right down. And my hand's probably in the way. Right down in there anyways, underneath that turbo base. This is the turbo base. To get that bolt out. But anyways, all I'm gonna do is, that's the fuel filter housing. Undo the mounts for this, slide this ahead a little bit to get the fuel lines off. There's 3 or 4 bolts, I forget. I think there's 2 on one side, 1 on the other. Maybe there's 2 on each side, I don't remember. Either way, they'll undo, move it ahead. Well, undo the fuel lines, move it ahead. Because otherwise you're fighting them fuel lines, which really suck. But you gotta remember, when you unbolt the fuel pump, to pull it straight up. Especially if it's been in there quite a while. Because they tend to freeze up in there. I tried to do a video on this, the fuel pump, but my blind ass didn't hit record or something, and I did the whole video and I didn't record any of it. But what happens is, this will break off in the block, and then you have to get this piece out, and this button, this will come right out of here, and you gotta make sure you don't drop that in the engine. This all happened to me last time. I didn't drop it in the engine, but I was laying on top of the cam and I had to fish it out. I had to use a slide hammer to get the last one out, pulling straight up on it, which really kind of sucked. But anyways, so I'm gonna get this stuff off and I'll get back in a little bit with you guys, show you where I'm at. Okay guys, so I got this fuel filter. There's 2 bolts and 1 on each side. Got that loose, and the reason to get this loose, I'll try to show the best I can. Okay, here's your fuel pump. This fuel line goes to here. Get that out of the way. This one goes to here. Get that out of the way. And there's one way down there that goes to the bottom of the fuel filter bowl. You want to get that off, and this gives it a little bit. It's way down there. Now you got 10 millimeter, well, the head is right there, bolt, one over there, and you got this back one. Of course, you do that one first so it doesn't twist. Get that loose. I believe it's 1.25 inches that's on there. I hope so, because those are wrenches that I grabbed. So what you do, get your wrench, you get it down here kind of on an angle, and you barely break it loose. And, well, I can't do it and hold the camera at the same time, so I'm gonna break this loose. Now I'll show you guys what's going on. Be back in a minute. Gotta get this truck going because we're gonna use this. Gotta haul logs that we cut, so be back in a minute. Okay, I hope that's recording. I hope you guys can kind of see what's going on here. Kind of got you propped up there. So, got that banjo bolt out, which is this. Their bolt is a couple washers. What it is, it's the T that goes down and feeds fuel to the head. So now, 2 bolts, like I was saying, right there. Now, see, not sure if you guys noticed that what I do is I feel the bolt with my fingertip. I don't know where to put the socket. Really, the only reason I'm using this light is to try to help you guys out so you can see a little better. Hopefully my arm's not too much in the way. There it is. So, now I'm going to feel down here. Make sure there ain't any fuel laying down in the valley from draining the bowl, because when you pull this, any fuel will, or dirt or anything will go right down on top of your cam. So turn it a little bit to make sure it's free. You're trying to pull straight up. You don't want to pull on an angle, because you can break it, like I was saying. Very carefully lift her up. Okay, so what you want for, make sure this button's still on the bottom, make sure this didn't break. Like I said, their brake here will get stuck down in there. And this will pull right out. And you don't want it to fall. I've had it fall and you had to take a magnet and pick it up off the can. Well, let's see if I can find the weed pole. I don't know. My blind ass can't find it, but there's a hole back here somewhere. A little tiny hole that leaks fuel out of. I like to do is always plug this hole down here just to make sure you don't get any dirt in the engine. As soon as I find it, there it is. But yeah, that's how you remove it. It's not too bad a job. Okay, you guys, so the old pump's out. Cleaned up down there in the valley. I'd like to is put a little bit of anti-seize around here above the O-ring, because you don't want anti-seize down your engine. Yeah, there's the O-ring. So put it on above it so it stays freed up in the block. Below it, it's going to get washed off by engine oil. So you don't want it below it, just put it above it. And then, well, then you take your plug out the back. You don't want to do that. Forget that, because you won't be able to get it in there. So what you do now, take it, set it down in there nice and carefully. See if I can get you guys propped up. Well, the first thing you do is pull your rag back out the hole once you know you got everything cleaned up around there. So I'll get that out of there. Then, nice and easily, set it down in there. Make sure you clear this fuel line down here. And push it down so that O-ring. Then you drop your wrenches on the floor. And the bolts. 1, 2. These ones. So you put that down there. Just let you guys know that banjo bolt in the back there, the copper washers don't come with the new fuel pump, which I forgot, and I had to order them. So you might have to turn this just a little bit to get your holes lined up. So you should thread in with your fingers. Get your fingers under that one. Okay. Make sure that your fuel line back here is freed up and not hung up. It seems to be, so then you tighten that up. Do that in a minute. And then you hook up your fuel line, the bottom one, slide it in there, hook up your other ones, your banjo bolt. Make sure you got the washers in that banjo bolt both in there. I'll get back in a minute. Okay, now that you got this bolt back there tight, now right back here, and you got your mounting bolts tight, because fuel filter is loose here. What you can do is pivot it, and you can get the very bottom line on the fuel pump down there by pivoting. I think you can see it way down there. You can get that on. Then you put the bolts back in the fuel filter canister, and you can put on your other two fuel lines. This one to the comes off the engine from the tank to here, and this one to your fuel filter also. But you can slip them on and slip this in, fold it back down. Let me get that done, and I'll continue back. Okay, now that you got them other fuel lines on, you can put these two on. This one, you can slip it on. Might be a little bit easier. Slip it on the fuel pump and then leave your fuel bowl loose and slide it on that way. Or, because it's a little bit longer, you can kind of fold it and get it to go on. This one too. They're a little bit tough. Always change these three lines. I didn't this time because these only have a few thousand miles on them since I changed them last. So I'm not worried about it. But otherwise, I always change them. And these are not regular fuel line. It's high pressure line. What you want to use here. So one thing, take the heat from the valley. Used to always get them from Ford or International, but they quit making them, so you just get high pressure fuel line. But then you throw your intake on. Like I said, make sure all the diesel's out of the valley, so otherwise you're going to think it's leaking when it's not. But that's pretty much it. Obviously, you know how the intake goes on. If you don't know how the intake goes on, you probably shouldn't attempt this. But thanks for watching. Remember, don't let your disability hold you back. Even a blind guy could do this job. So thank you for watching. You found this helpful. Remember, like, subscribe. Thank you.